Greetings, family, and welcome to episode 14 of Baba Talks. I appreciate you guys coming and taking the time to view another episode. I know it's been a while, but before we start, I want to make sure to just say thank you. I have received so many emails, texts, phone calls, social media postings, and they're coming from all over the world. And I got to tell you, you never know, how many lives you've touched or who you have been in contact with in the world until something like this crisis occurs that's happening with COVID-19. And it's humbling. I feel great appreciation for everyone who is reaching out to me. So I'm going to tell everyone in this forum right here, right now, my family's doing well. I'm doing well. And I'm hoping it stays that way. And let me just get to what I wanted to post this for. I was reflecting on everything that's happening right now. And I know we say it's unprecedented, but for students of history, you know this isn't unprecedented, and you know why I say that. But I was reflecting on everything that's happening now, and I remembered a story that I share with many of my students and even in some of the teacher workshops, and I want to share that with you all. If you're tuning in and you've heard this story before because you've been a part of one of my workshops or you're one of my students, just bear with me. It's worth retelling and re-listening. There was a king who was very ego-driven, and this king used to hold a parade every day in his own honor. Every day this king would dress up in fancy clothing and put on all types of jewelry and head out through the town so that people could watch him and they could say how much they loved their king and how beautiful he was. So the king would do this every day, every day. Well, one day the king decided he wanted something special. He wanted to do something different. So he went into the area where all of his jewelry was kept. And he searched through boxes and boxes and boxes, and he was looking for a specific ring. It was a ring that he hadn't worn in a long time, but it was a ring that was brighter than any other, and he wanted to show it off this day. Well, he found the ring, he put it on his finger, and he gathered together all of his administrators, his servants, his military people, the diplomats, politicians. He gathered them all together for the daily parade. So they march through the town, and there are drummers and singers and dancers accompanying them, and everyone is shouting out how beautiful their king is and how brilliant he is, how wise their king is. And he's taking it all in. They walk out through the town toward a pond. One of his favorite areas was this pond, not too far from the palace, but on the other side of the town. So they're walking around this pond, and he's got his entourage, and as per his order, all eyes are on him, and they're watching him. But he looks out into the pond, and he sees this fish jump out of the water, and it is a bright, fluorescent, multicolored fish. And he had never seen this before, so he starts screaming, "Look, look!" He's waving emphatically at this fish, but by the time everyone turns from him toward the fish is back in the water. It happens again, and he emphatically, once again, he's waving his arms, yelling, "Look, look!" But once again, they miss the fish because they're too busy looking at him. Well, it happens again, but this time he's so excited, he's so built up that he starts yelling, "Look, look!" And he's once again emphatically waving, but the ring that he was wearing came off of his finger, flew through the air, and landed in the pond. The servants were the poorest among them, and the servants immediately thought, if we can retrieve the king's ring, we can win favor. So the servants ran toward the pond, and they all jumped in because each of them wanted to be the one to win favor with the king by finding his ring. But the musicians weren't going to be outdone by the servants, so it didn't take them too long to figure out what was going on and run in too. After them, the diplomats, the politicians, they thought, we are by our king's side every day, and this is our way to show our loyalty. So the politicians, the diplomats, they all run and rush into the water to try to find the ring also. Now, the military people, they're not going to be outdone because, well, military people are competitive. Trust me, I know. So they all rush into the water. So now you've got all of these people in this pond, and they're all climbing over each other and falling under each other and being pushed under the water. And the king looks, and he notices someone is missing. He turns around, and to his rear, he sees his elderly advisor. His elderly advisor. So he turns to me and he says, don't you want to honor your king as all the others are attempting to do? Don't you want to be the one to find my ring? And the elderly advisor says, yes, Your Highness, I do. But in order for me to find it, I have to use my own methods. So the king is watching all of these people, this chaos in the pond, and nobody is coming back with his ring. So he decides to try the elderly advisor's way. So he turns to the advisor and he says, what is your way? And the advisor, he asked the king, would he please bring everyone out of the water and have them sit beneath a tree that's not too far from the pond. So the king brings everyone out. They go sit beneath a tree. The elderly advisor, he goes and he sits with them and he begins humming and singing a song. He had a beautiful voice. The king always enjoyed his voice. And while he was singing, he began to tell a tale, a story, a really engrossing tale. And everyone, they were captivated. Now, quite a bit of time had passed when the king woke from this stupor of entertainment, and he says, wait, elderly advisor, you promised to help me find my ring, but we're sitting here beneath a tree listening to stories and singing songs. That is not helping me find my ring. And the elderly advisor, he says, no, Your Highness, this is the way. So he stands up. The elderly advisor walks over to the pond. And in the water, clear as anything, is a brightly colored object, the sun bouncing off of it in the water. The elderly advisor, he wades out to where the object is. He reaches down, picks it up, and it's the king's ring. He brings it back to the king and he hands it to him. And the king says, what type of miracle is this? How were you able to do this? And no one else here could. The elderly advisor explained, it's a lot like life, Your Highness. You see, when everyone jumped in and none of them cared to stop even a moment to think about what they were doing, they all jumped in, and when they did, they disturbed the water and the soil beneath. And when they did that, the soil and the soot, it was kicked up, and the water was no longer clear. He said, I simply waited for all of that mud and soot to settle back down to the bottom and for the waters to be clear before venturing out to see if I could find it. He said, you see, Your Highness, in order to do anything in life, we have to pause a moment and wait for clarity. That's the story. Many of you have heard it before, I know, but some stories are worth retelling, right? So I'm not going to keep these episodes long. I want to keep them short so that I want to encourage you to come back. I mean, if you guys want them longer, email me, let me know. I'll make them longer because I have a lot of time on my hands right now. And also, the schools that have been calling me about media. So I'll connect with you, but these sorts of things are what I'm going to be putting out. So my place is all set up with green screens and cameras, and I've got everything I need to make content for everyone. So we'll communicate about that later. But once again, thank you everyone who has reached out with concerns about me and my family. We are doing fine. If anything else, the closing thought I would like to leave you with is there's a proverb. It says, when elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. I want to make sure that this period, that we're not defined by the worst that we have to offer, but by the best that we have to offer. And I posted a few days ago that I wasn't hearing concern for the most vulnerable among us. And people started sending me local stories. But I think what I was really asking for was that the dominant conversation be about how are we going to take care of our most vulnerable and I wasn't feeling as though the dominant conversation was there. So I want to leave you with this closing thought. Look, when history looks back on us, I would like us to be viewed in a way that says we face this moment with courage and grace, because I know that we're capable. So until the next episode of Baba Talks, I appreciate you guys signing in. Doni doni kono na biya gada.